Hey YouTube. Um, so much stuff has happened in the last month-ish, I guess, or 3 weeks, whatever. I don't know. Since I posted last, I didn't even watch the last video to see what I posted, and I'm a complete wreck. Memory fog is an all-time high. I just got back on Wednesday. I have this lovely little Picc line here that I've done 2 infusions so far. One with the help of a nurse, and then the second one, the help of Cameron. He helped me this morning. Remember all the steps, because quite a bit of steps, to do it. Was started on IV Rostefin. Still taking atovacone and doxycycline and Coartem just for now until we see where I'm at. I was also recently diagnosed with Picc. I'm kind of we think it's like a blood vessel problem with the larger joints, because when I have fibromyalgia flares, they get really bad in some of the places that are larger joints as opposed to the smaller blood vessel area. So there's that, and that kind of sucks because there's not really a cure or an unknown reason as to why that happens. Cameron's brother's wife is getting ready to have her baby in the next 24 to 48 hours or so, and I can't go to the hospital to see her because they're demanding that everybody get shots, so that I think the flu shot as well as the pneumonia vaccine as well. And I'm not allowed to get either of those because it will not help my immune system in any way. Plus, it won't really protect me from getting, either of those anyway, because my body's not responding to things that, hence why we switched to IV antibiotics instead. So every day for the next 58 more days. Once a day, we're doing IV Rostefin, a 30-minute drip. So far, so good with the Picc line. Something that I noticed that I didn't really realize was going to be like a big deal is that when sometimes I talk, or if I get up to walk somewhere, or move like in a specific way, or I don't really know how I'm doing it just yet, but my heart flutters quite a bit, and on some Picc line forums that I'm on, they said that this is just something that happens and it can last up to 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer. I mean, it was done at intervention or I can't really talk. It was done at where they do like radiology, so it was like live radiology, where they checked the placement there, so I know it was done correctly. I just don't, so I guess this is just something that happens, because when it does happen, and it freaks me out, it makes me feel like someone just kind of punched me in the chest without the pain portion of the chest punching, like if you were to get winded by when I was younger and I used to play softball, I got hit pretty hard in the chest, by a ball that a pitcher threw, and I wasn't able to get out of the way as fast as I'd like to have. and it knocked the wind out of me, and it left, you know, teeth marks where it hit in the middle, like the center of my chest here. And it feels like that, and the heart flutter, but without the pain of like a striked force. So it kind of just feels like really painful. Painful without the pain, but like fluttery, scary, like I can't breathe. Like the wind has been knocked out of me, but by nothing, I guess. And it happens quite frequently. Sometimes it happens in the middle of the night, and it's kind of happening a little bit right now. I don't know if that's because I'm emotional or what, but I have been trying to get the willpower to get up and to do things today, and I've been really overly emotional. I had a bad experience at the airport. So we went up on Tuesday. We went through Tampa International Airport and flew up, and landed in Jacksonville. Had a slight layover, and then we went to we landed in Dulles, and that everything went fine through that airport and everything. I was able to walk during that portion. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Walk through that portion of the airport. That's a huge airport, and I was really proud of myself for being able to walk through it. And then we went and got our bags and stuff and went to the hotel. And then the next day, we got up at I got up at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. I'm on Xyrem, and I didn't bring it with me because I was afraid that it would get, the bottle would get messed up in travel, and so I did not bring it, and I could not sleep for the life of me. It was horrible. So then I get to the place to do the Picc line. We leave the hotel like 8 or 9, 8 o'clock I think is when we left, because I wanted to be there by 9, and I didn't know about the traffic or anything, so we took Uber over there, and we got to we got to the vascular center that did the Picc line placement around just before 9 o'clock. So they started, getting everything ready, and they went through. It was really fast and easy, and they did the Picc line very quickly. The only part that really hurt was the lidocaine injection, and then the cleaning afterwards, because when the feeling started to return, I could, feel the burning of the cleaning solution, which that's fine. I can deal with that because I dealt, with all this for so long. Not a big deal. And then so on the way back to the airport in Dulles, we took an Uber there, and that was fine, but we were about 6.5 hours early for our flight, because we had to check out of the hotel, and we didn't want to have to pay for an extra night. We could have, went back there and, maybe paid for an extra night and just stayed, hung around there for a little while, but we didn't really know, where else to go, so we hung around the airport, and by this point, I was having, major chest fluttering, and, of course, I looked it up real quick just to make sure that I wasn't in any danger, that it wasn't, a big deal, and they said as long as it was placed correctly, I shouldn't have any problems. This just is something that happens. And okay, and so we checked in, we checked our bag, and went towards security. I asked for a wheelchair because I was not feeling very well, and I did not want to fall. And so by the time that we got through security, of course, something always happens to me when I go. So I went through into security, and since I've been losing weight, quite a bit, a lot of my clothes don't fit like they should, so they're really baggy, and apparently when you have really baggy clothes, they do extra screening because they want to make sure that you are, not, they don't have anything extra, which I can understand for the safety, or, safety of the country or whatever, but this is something that really kind of upset me, because I just got the Picc line. I was told all these horrible things about, this is a line. It goes directly to your heart. You can get infections through it. It can cause sepsis. You can die. Things, that are very scary, and I knew all this going in, but here's the thing. So when I went through the little metal detector thingy, something I guess showed up around this part of the area, like where my arm extends here, and then they were concerned because they didn't know like what this was. Like they were not trained on what the Picc lines are. And I asked the lady from Dulles to change her gloves, please, before she touched it, and she refused to do it. And the only thing that I could respond with was tears. So while she head to toe, like filled me up, and then like put her hands all over where the Picc line insertion spot was, and poked around on a sterile, area, and I probably shouldn't have been that scared, but I was. I mean, it's not like sorry, it's not like like I understand like not knowing it or understanding, but I asked her if she would change her gloves, because like I'm not saying that other people aren't sick, but I have a direct line into my heart, and nobody would, would listen to me. And Cameron, of course, couldn't help because he was behind me in line, so he had to go through his own search thing or whatever. And so once we got through, it was fine, but I couldn't catch my breath. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I honestly felt like it was a really big deal, like that these people aren't trained. I mean, in one of the, our nation's capital's airports, sort of, like these people are not trained to know, like with people with disabilities. I mean, I don't consider myself a person with a disability right now, but I mean, I really could have been injured by that. And I flew all the way up to Maryland to get my Picc line and to, come down here to start antibiotics so that I could get better, not to get some infection and possibly like, get sicker or get sepsis and die. And I was furious with how the TSA handled it at Dulles. On the way back, I was extremely upset and overwhelmed, and I couldn't stop crying. And the horrible part about it is that, there was nothing I could do to fix it or to clean it off or anything like that. It's not like, the airport sells alcohol prep pads or anything, and I wasn't sent home with anything because I was flying out, and I didn't want to get in trouble for bringing stuff, on the plane that I could get in trouble for. And I don't know the rules about like what I'm allowed to bring, like, or not allowed to bring, like when it comes to medical equipment or medical medications, because like, I didn't even bring my Xyrem because I was afraid that they were going to like shake it up or figure, when you shake it up and stuff like that, it messes up how the bottle is designed so that you can no longer extract the medication from the bottle. So that's why I left it at home. I just felt like this is kind of, I kind of felt like, well, okay, so after leaving security area, I put my shoes back on and everything, and was waiting for Cameron to get done, and we went back towards the airplane area. But mind you, this was like a 30-minute walk. I mean, I was in a wheelchair, but it was like a 30-minute walk. So the guy from SkyCap was pushing me to the airport gate, which ended up not even being the right gate anyway. We found that out later on, but that doesn't matter. That's not what this video is about. It's just once I got like it was like 30 minutes of me walking around, getting pushed around by this guy, and Cameron was pretty much carrying everything because he wouldn't let me carry anything over 10 pounds because of the Picc line. And so I spent almost the entire time in tears, and of course people are staring. I'm still overweight, you know, so it's like people are looking at me like, oh, that fat girl's crying, whatever. It's kind of like judgmental city over there, and I had the worst time. Sorry, I don't think I'm ever gonna fly into Dulles again. I don't think that the security people know what they're doing, or they haven't been trained properly to deal with people with disabilities or with people who have medical illnesses at all, and it's not fair. And I'm not singling out this girl. I really am not. She did not know, and that's the crime, you know, that she wasn't taught and that she didn't know. And that the lady who was her superior didn't know either. Like, nobody knew what to do, and nobody wanted to change their gloves because they thought that wasn't something that they, you know, that's not their protocol. And, you know, and even, like, I can understand if they wanted to like, you know, fill my clothes up and everything, and then do a little hand swipey thing just to make sure, whatever. But when they, went to touch the Picc line directly, like, you know, and poke around at it, and, you know, not changing their gloves from after that, that is why I got so upset. And, I know this is going on for too long. Again, I don't edit these things because I don't care about that. Like, I just feel like I just needed to get this out. And it was a horrible experience that I hope to never have to repeat it. But I will have to do some traveling within the next, you know, sometime within the next 60 days, because I need to go back and see my doctor. And believe me, I'm not flying into Dulles again. This is not happening. And I'm going to have, you know, a doctor write some notes or something, because I refuse to be treated like that ever again. Like, they did not want to hear it from me. And like I said, since Cameron was so far back, he wasn't able to defend me or even, like, say anything. And I understand that they're just checking, but, like, I don't know. I'm just mad. And I wish that my experience was better. And, you know, I was terrified more of getting kicked off the airplane, because we ended up flying United. And you know what? Everybody was extremely nice. United was great. The bag check was great. You know, everything was fine. They let us move seats closer together, things like that. And, you know, it's just so I didn't have to sit alone. And it was a really good experience. Like, I was more terrified about that becoming a bad experience than going through airport security. But now, like, my anxiety is, like, on high, and I am completely just messed up. And I don't know when I don't know where to end this. Like, I really don't. It's like 20 minutes long, and I don't know where to end this. And I just want to say, like, I wrote a letter, well, not really a letter, but I wrote a kind of, I wasn't trying to complain, but I wrote it was under complaints, for TSA at Dulles, and,
I was trying to explain the situation of what happened, and I was like, in a non, threatening way, and in a way that I wasn't trying to get any either of those ladies that were, doing what they did in trouble, because I feel like they were, or they genuinely felt like they were doing their jobs. However, I just don't think that they are educated in the ways of, health issues that are, a really big deal. Because, I was literally flying up there for the Picc line, spent the night, got the Picc line, flew back the same day. I just want things to get better for other people. I don't really care if, I don't want those ladies to get in trouble. That's the thing I'm trying to come out and say, is that's not my intention. I just want everyone, maybe even across the board, across the United States, at our airports, to learn about, disabilities, and learn about the different things that people could come through with. I mean, and don't poke a sterile fucking field that goes directly to somebody's heart. It honestly should be common sense. It's not like it's a midline. I mean, I wouldn't feel as mad, I guess, if it was a midline. I mean, I would still be upset, but I don't. I'm so over it. Anyway, I'm gonna end for now, because apparently all I can do is cry, and I think it's gonna get worse, and my hyperventilation's gonna get worse, and, but if you could like and share, subscribe, whatever, I don't even know right now, just to get maybe this out there, because, it's important.